Girl, you need to dump the dead weight. Life's too short. I froze with the coffee pot in my hand, staring at Heather's phone buzzing on our kitchen counter at 5:47 a.m. The notification preview lit up the screen for just a few seconds, but long enough for me to see it came from her fitness group chat. The contact name read Fit Fam Squad with about 12 people in the conversation. Dead weight. That's what I was to my own wife. I set the pot down careful and quiet, like my hands knew better than to make noise while my world shifted. Heather was still upstairs pretending to sleep, same routine for the past 3 months. I'd been making her coffee every morning out of habit, leaving it on the counter where it got cold and forgotten. 2 cups of perfectly good coffee, wasted every single day. But seeing that message changed everything. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't imagining things. There was a whole group of people talking about my marriage like it was some burden Heather needed to escape from. I grabbed my phone and took a quick photo of her screen before the notification disappeared. My heart was pounding like I was doing something wrong, but I wasn't the one with secrets here. I memorized the contact names I could see in that brief moment. Jessica, Amber, and someone called Marcus PT. At the job site that morning, I couldn't focus. Every swing of my hammer echoed with those words. Dead weight. I was installing new gutters on a 2-story house in Bakersfield, work I'd normally finish by lunch. Instead, I kept checking my phone, thinking about that message. During my lunch break, I pulled out my phone and looked up Heather's fitness group online. Found their Instagram page easily enough, Elite Fitness Bakersfield. Scrolled through the photos of group workouts, team challenges, motivational quotes. There was my wife in at least a dozen photos, laughing and posing with people I'd never met. Her smile looked different in those pictures, genuine, happy. When was the last time she smiled at me like that? And there was Marcus Delgado, personal trainer and fitness coach. Tall, muscular, probably 10 years younger than me. He was commenting on every single one of Heather's posts with fire emojis and phrases like beast mode and looking strong H. He had a nickname for my wife. That night I paid attention to things I'd been ignoring. The way Heather's face lit up when her phone buzzed during dinner. How she took it to the bathroom now, claiming she needed to check work emails. The new expensive workout clothes with tags still on them scattered around our bedroom. Lululemon, Alo, brands that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. I started checking our bank statements online that same evening. What I found made my stomach drop. $347 at Meridian Steakhouse downtown on March 15th. Same night she claimed to have food poisoning. $89 at Victoria's Secret on March 20th. I hadn't seen any new lingerie. $73 at the Hilton Bar on March 22nd. She told me she was doing burpees until 10 p.m. that night. The pattern went back months. Charges I didn't recognize, at places she never mentioned going. Always on nights when she claimed to be at the gym. But the phone records were what really broke me. Our family plan showed everything. 2-hour phone calls with Marcus Delgado at 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., sometimes 3 times a week. "Nathan, you seem distracted lately," she said the next evening, not looking up from her phone. We were sitting at our kitchen table, me eating leftover casserole, her picking at a salad. "Just work stuff," I said, watching her fingers fly across the screen. "Who you texting?" "Just the girls from the gym. We're planning this team building thing." "Team building? Right. Sounds fun. When is it?" "This weekend. It's just a 1-day thing." She finally looked at me, that practiced smile she used when she was lying. "You don't mind, do you?" "No problem," I said. "I'll handle the fence myself." That weekend, I made a decision that still makes me feel sick. I followed her, sat in my truck like some kind of stalker, hating myself but needing to know the truth. She didn't go to any team-building event. She went straight to the Hilton downtown, walked right into the lobby like she belonged there. I sat across the street for 2 hours, listening to talk radio, and wondering how my life had come to this. When she finally came out, Marcus was with her. They stood by the valet station talking and laughing. He touched her arm. She didn't pull away. Then he kissed her cheek goodbye, and she looked around like she was checking to see if anyone was watching. I drove home with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. I drove home and printed everything. Bank statements going back 6 months. Phone records from our family plan showing every call and text. Screenshots of social media posts. I laid it all out on our bed like evidence at a crime scene. Organized it chronologically, just like I would organize materials for a big construction project. The timeline was devastating. Her emotional distance started exactly when the late-night calls to Marcus began. When Heather got home that evening, I was sitting on our bed surrounded by papers. She walked into the bedroom and stopped dead in her tracks. "We need to talk," I said. She glanced at the papers spread across our comforter. Her face went white. I watched the exact moment she realized her careful lies were all laid out in black and white. "Nathan, I can explain." "Explain what?" I picked up the hotel receipt. "That you've been lying to me for months? That you're spending our money on another man?" I held up the phone records. "That you've been talking to Marcus until 2 a.m. while I'm lying right next to you? That you've been screwing your personal trainer while I work 60-hour weeks to pay for your gym membership?" She sat on the edge of the bed, suddenly looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her hands were shaking. "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think." I spread out the bank statements. The hotel charges, the restaurant bills, the lingerie purchases. "You want to know what I think? I think you've been cheating on me and making me feel crazy for suspecting it. I think you've been lying to my face every single day for months. Marcus and I, we just talk. He understands me in ways—" "Stop." I held up my hand. "Just stop lying. I followed you today. Saw you both walk out of the Hilton together. Saw him kiss you goodbye. So let's skip the part where you pretend this is innocent." Tears started rolling down her cheeks. Real ones this time, not the fake ones she used when she wanted sympathy or to get out of doing chores. "I never meant for this to happen," she whispered. "But it did happen. For months. While you were telling me you needed space, while you were making me feel like I was too clingy for wanting to spend time with my own wife, you were giving that space to someone else." She tried to grab my hand. I pulled away like her touch burned. "What do you want me to do?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "I want you to choose, him or me, right now. No more lies, no more games, no more, it's complicated. Choose." She was quiet for a long time. Too long. I could see her mind working, trying to figure out what to say to keep both of us. The silence stretched between us like a canyon. "It's complicated, Nathan. You don't understand what I'm going through. Marcus makes me feel alive again. You and I, we've gotten into this routine, and I feel like I'm suffocating." "There's my answer." I stood up and walked to our closet. Started pulling clothes off hangers, throwing them into the duffel bag I used for weekend fishing trips with Mark. "What are you doing?" "I'm leaving. Tonight. You can have the house, have Marcus, have whatever you want, but you can't have me as backup while you figure it out." "Nathan, please, don't do this. We can work through this. I'll end things with Marcus. We can go to counseling." I turned around and looked at her. Really looked. The woman I'd loved for 8 years, who used to reach for my hand in the car, who used to kiss me goodbye in the mornings and ask about my day when I came home. She was gone. Had been gone for months. I'd just been too stubborn to see it. "No," I said, zipping up my bag. "We can't." I packed one bag and went to my brother Mark's house. He took one look at my face when he opened the door at 10:30 p.m. and stepped aside to let me in. "Beer?" he asked. "Yeah." He handed me a cold Budweiser and didn't ask questions. Sometimes the best help is just space to breathe. 3 days later, I hired a lawyer. Spent my lunch break calling offices, explaining my situation to receptionists who'd heard it all before. Found Sarah Chen online after reading dozens of reviews. Former prosecutor turned family law attorney. Her website said she specialized in high-conflict divorces involving financial deception. That sounded about right. Her office was in a glass building downtown. the kind of place that cost more per hour than I made in a day. But Mark insisted on loaning me the retainer money. "Consider it an investment in your future happiness," he said. Sarah Chen was nothing like I expected. Mid-40s, professional but not intimidating. She looked at my manila folder full of evidence like she was impressed. "Most people come in here emotional and unprepared," she said, flipping through my bank statement printouts. "You've documented everything methodically. That's going to save you time and money." I explained the timeline, the fitness group, Marcus, the hotel receipts, the midnight phone calls. She took notes on a yellow legal pad, asking sharp questions that cut right to the heart of things. "California is a no-fault state," she explained. "But this kind of evidence helps with asset division. Your wife spent marital funds on the affair. We can pursue reimbursement for those expenses." "How much are we talking about?" She did quick math on her calculator. "Based on what you've shown me, probably $8,000 to $10,000 over 6 months. Hotels, restaurants, gifts, it adds up. $8,000. That was 2 months of my take-home pay. Money we could have used to fix the roof, pay down credit cards, maybe take a real vacation instead of her taking secret ones with Marcus." "What's the timeline?" I asked. 6 months if she cooperates. Longer if she fights. But honestly? Sarah leaned back in her chair. "With this documentation, she's not going to want this aired in public court proceedings. Her employer might take a dim view of using company time for personal calls to her trainer." I hadn't thought about that. Heather worked at the hospital in billing, professional environment. They probably wouldn't appreciate learning she was conducting an affair on their dime. "One more thing," Sarah said as I was leaving. "Change your passwords, all of them. Bank accounts, email, social media, and open a new checking account in your name only. You need to protect yourself financially until this is resolved." Walking out of that office, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Control. For the first time since finding that message on Heather's phone, I wasn't reacting to her lies. I was taking action to protect myself. A week after that, process servers delivered separation papers to our house. I watched from my truck as Heather opened the door. Her face went from confusion to shock to panic in about 30 seconds. She looked around like she was searching for me, but I was already pulling away. She called me that night sobbing. "Nathan, I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Marcus is nothing compared to what we have." "Had," I corrected her. "What we had. Please come home. I'll cut off all contact with him. We can go to counseling." "Heather, you spent a year lying to my face while spending our money on another man. You chose him over me every single day for months. The only reason you want me back now is because the bills are due and you can't afford our life without me." She got quiet, because it was true. "I can't do this without you," she finally said. "You've been doing it without me this whole time. You just didn't realize I was paying for it." The divorce was final 6 months later. She got the house she couldn't afford. I got my freedom and my self-respect back. 2 years later, I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked tired, older. Living in a small apartment now, working extra shifts to pay bills she used to split with me. "How are you doing?" she asked, and I could tell she meant it. "I'm good," I said. And I was. New apartment, growing business, dating a nurse named Sarah who actually seemed to like having me around. "I'm sorry," Heather said quietly, "for everything. I know it doesn't matter now, but I'm sorry." "I hope you figure out what you're looking for," I told her. "I think I already found it," she said. "Just took losing it to realize." I nodded and walked away. Some bridges burned completely, and that's okay. Now I make 1 cup of coffee every morning. Perfect amount. No waste. No hoping someone else will appreciate the gesture. Just peace, quiet, and the satisfaction of a life lived on my own terms. Marcus got fired from the gym 6 months after our divorce. Turns out I wasn't the only husband who'd discovered his wife's training sessions were more than professional.